Martin Hodgson is Australia's youngest full-time lobbyist on issues of human rights. Barely into his 20s, the young, passionate crusader is often seen working diligently on behalf of foreign prisoner support, regional environmental issues, and the preservation and freedom of Aboriginal youth.
It's been something I've done all my life, but really how it started as what is now a career was simply seeing the plight of a young Australian in trouble overseas. He'd been arrested for a crime that seemed very dubious by Chinese authorities, and I called his family up and they had no English-speaking skills. They were struggling to deal with the government agencies, and I offered to help them. I really had no idea what I was doing, but I just threw myself in there, and from there it's grown into a career.
Martin's passion can best be seen with his work among the Aboriginal community, noting the effects of racism, poverty, and discrimination among them.
It's one of the oldest cultures on earth, the Aboriginal culture, and white man has only been in Australia for 200 years. And what we now see is that as Aboriginal people have been forced to integrate, we see huge problems with alcohol, huge problems with incarceration rates.
You don't drink from the bottle. The bottle drinks from you. You don't laugh when it's empty.
Young Aboriginal men, 50% of them will spend some time in prison, and when they return to their communities, trying to fit back in is a real issue.
Racism and related struggles are sadly ubiquitous also.
25% of those incarcerated in Australia being Aboriginal, and they only make up 2% of the population. And that is just a horrendous figure. It's clearly unrelated to any crimes they may be committing. You would hope the judiciary wouldn't have racist element, but a figure like that just shows that those old ideas of not giving Aboriginal people a second chance, where a white person or an Asian person or anyone else other than an Aboriginal person might get from a judge or a magistrate. And we know that once someone's been in custody, they've got an 80% chance of reoffending within the next 2 years. So we're actually making the country more dangerous by locking up the Aboriginal youth. This is something we really have to work at. We can't on the one hand say that Aboriginal people must take responsibility for improving their own lot, while at the same time subjecting them to prison and a prison system that is simply not befitting these young men who are simply like any other teenager trying to find their way. And we are, in fact, enslaving them just in a different fashion than happened 200 years ago. Slavery with a different name, and we have to be strong enough to say that and not to turn a blind eye, or it will get worse.
Kids are everywhere, and many face the same turmoils as their brothers and sisters across the ocean. Martin speaks to us of youth in Australia and everywhere.
What children need is love and support and education and good food on the table. And I think we need to expose our children more to what other children around the world are going through. Children have an amazing ability to be empathetic to others and to want to help themselves, but if we don't give them the chance, they really don't have any hope of being able to make a difference themselves, or any hope of living outside of that commercial reality that we're creating for them. I wouldn't ever ask anyone to look at the world and say, how big is it? The world is as big as you make it, and you have the ability to do anything, wherever you are. I truly believe this, and I believe every single one of you can make your way. Whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is you want to achieve for yourself, for your family, for your community, for your country, you can achieve it, and you must keep striving towards your dream and towards your goal. And there are people like myself who will help you. And if you take that first step, we'll take all the rest of them with you.
Why persist at helping others? It's so many. It's like spitting into the ocean, all of these causes. That very big ocean that seems to separate many of us. But there are those like Martin Hodgson who persist in doing. Martin credits his parents and strong individuals such as his uncle, Paul D'Oquille, in inspiring his life.
My parents taught me from the time I could crawl about Dr. King, about Gandhi, about all these great figures that the world's seen, and to not ever think that anything is too big. If you set your sights high, you can achieve anything. Anything is possible if you take action.
Reach him at martin.hodgson@foreignprisoners.com. You are everywhere with Gianna Gorel.